That Stan Lee, he's quite a guy.
I think he's truly special.
Well, Madam Webb, where to now?
Face front, true believer. We are going to find the real Mary Jane Watson.
What?
It has been a long, hard journey. And I think you are finally entitled to some happiness.
Amen to that, dear lady. Amen to that.
They say that a hero will save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. Wrong Spider-Man movie. Wrong Spider-Man movie, yeah. So, we have 6. This is now the 6th Spider-Man film. 6 Spider-Man films, 3 actors. It's kind of like
mask on, get mask on, mask on, get mask on, mask on, get mask on, mask on, get mask on.
And unlike, let's say, for example, Batman, the world is not as forgiving with Spider-Man films or Spider-Man in general as they are with it. For some untold reason, people tend to get a little more weird when it comes to Spider-Man for some reason. Which we will never talk about again. However, I am pleased to say that this Spider-Man trilogy, because this is the beginning of the Spider-Man trilogy, is off to a great start. And this is where I knew that Spider-Man was going to be great. Sold me. Like, I expected the movie to be good because it's a partnership with the people who actually made Spider-Man. But that was like the boiler, just like, okay, let's go into this movie now and see what happens. Also, this Spider-Man comes complete with a pre-murdered Uncle Ben. Spider-Man Homecoming is the story of an older dude who gives a young man expensive gifts and then tries to, you know, control his life. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The movie sort of asks the question, how do you balance great power? Like, we know Spider-Man's theme is, with great power comes great responsibility. This film asks, how do you balance it? Here's a young man who fought alongside the Avengers, well, part of them. And now he has to come back into his normal, mundane, everyday life. He has a Spanish quiz to deal with and things like that. And it's not just the monotony of normal living, it's the monotony of high school living. And that's the thing. This is a high school movie. He always started off in high school, but then they glossed over it so that we can get to the good parts. You have one Spider-Man franchise where high school was like a 45-minute backstory, and then another one where high school was a means to set up Oscorp. But with Homecoming, we are living in that world and all the problems associated with it. And that might agitate some fans a little bit. Stan created a 15-year-old kid who got powers and is like skinny and talkative and a little cocky, and he still has to go and deal with high school things, teenager things. This movie actually seals that. Peter Parker was still a teenager when he was dealing with like Vulture and Electro and Green Goblin and men with fish bowls over their head. That's who he was, and that's what this movie gives us. Homecoming has a sort of spiritual siblingry to the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi versions of it. Like in terms of Tom Holland's Spider-Man is very earnest. Spider-Man Homecoming could also be called Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
And it's not necessarily the ones that you would think. You got like his best friend Ned, who is sort of like, you know, his grounder, so to speak. You got Zendaya's Michelle, and the latter has a kind of a dry, sarcastic kind of do I care or do I care sensibility about her.
What are you hiding, Peter?
Interesting thing about Ned though, Ned sort of looks like and feels like Ganke. This guy, Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man. His best friend in the comics is this guy, Ganke. Note how Ganke looks. He pretty much is Ned.
You're the Spider-Man.
So they kind of borrowed things from all over their franchises to build it. Tony Stark is there, but unlike the marketing, he's really not there a whole deal. But when you see the movie, you realize that he is peppered in strategically, and it works. Aunt May's representation, or just May's representation in this movie, here's the thing. It's like May says in Civil War, aunts come in all shapes and sizes. And while I grant you that we are accustomed to old silver-haired Aunt May, I kind of like this one. The relationship that they have, it's kind of Gilmore Girls-ish. Think of that how you will. It's also very modern in terms of how they operated. Like, May doesn't know how to tie ties, so she and Peter are on YouTube looking to figure out how to do a tie. She teaches him how to dance. Well, like I said, they do have that Gilmore Girls thing. In a strange way, because they didn't do the whole backstory of Uncle Ben dying and everything like that, I think this would be cool now if, like in a future movie, you know, you get a flashback sequence to May and Ben and see how that played out. I feel like the Sony-Marvel partnership worked well. Got a fairly accurate Peter Parker, and Marvel got a real villain. But with Michael Keaton's Vulture, you understood his motivations. Like they told you from the beginning, this is why he does X, Y, and Z. And these are his motivations. And I feel like we finally have a decent Marvel villain. Until, like, Thanos comes around. And the humor in this film actually plays out quite nicely. It doesn't feel like if it's we're adding much more humor to make this thing into a thing. Like, it flows splendidly, and I think part of that has to do with the idea that, okay, Peter is in high school, so let's use that to our advantage. There were some things that kind of annoyed me. Like, I find like there are some trailer shots and some voice work that when you watch the movie you realize, oh, okay, so that was a misdirection or something of the sort. And I don't know if it was needed. There's a couple things that happened closer towards the end of the film that I felt they could have revealed or handled that a little bit better. Because it sets up so many little pockets. Also, Donald Glover. Yes, very much yes. That's all I will say about that. There's some soundtracks that he does that you kind of like, okay, like Star Trek tends to sound a little bit like his Mission Impossible. It sounds a little bit like his Lost. But with Homecoming, it worked. It worked really well. Like, he really mixed the playful and the pounding, the powerful together, and it was really good. Sony is doing a full-length Miles Morales animated film. And that's supposed to come out sometime next year, so there's that to look forward to. And of course, we know that Sony is doing their own Spider universe with Tom Hardy as Venom. I think he's playing Eddie Brock's Venom. But then I remember, of course, that Flash used to be a Venom. And speaking of Flash Thompson, Flash in this movie is not your brute force bully. It's like Regina George. This is a film that you could take your kids to see. I think there's like a 0 body count. Okay, the final shots of the film were both very nice and very logical. I want to tell you more about it, but that would just upset the point of a spoiler-free-ish review. Stay to the end. You know the drill with a Marvel movie by now. Stay to the end. There are 2 post-credit scenes. One that sort of hints to another villain that can come in the works for Spider. And at the very end, there's a very, very, very special post-credit scene. You're going to want to stay for that. So that's it. That's Spider-Man Homecoming. Go IMAX. Go see it. Enjoy it. Take your kids. Take your girlfriend. Take your girlfriend's little brother. Because reasons. Subscribe for more movie reviews. We have a new project that we're working on called Plays of the Week. It's like very, very short, so you can see that up on the YouTube page. San Diego Comic-Con is happening in a little while, so we will keep you informed with all pieces of information and new trailers and stuff that's coming on. Look out for that. And I will see you again in the movies. So yeah, taking you Spider-Man. Peace. Someone told me love would always save us. But how could that be when something gave us? World of killing and something great. Then they say that a hero will save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. I'll hold on to the wings of the eagle and watch as the eagle flies away.